Today we're going to talk about decision making. This is the first lesson of our financial literacy unit. This is Unit 3. I know it's going to be a lot different taking this from the computer. I'm going to try to keep my slides similar to what I've usually kept them. Even though we won't have guided notes, there's going to be some questions at the end of the slides. I'm also going to attach the slides to the assignment as PDFs, so you can use them. You can go back through and look through them as you're answering your questions on the Google form. This way, we get the information and I can see that y'all are learning it. So we'll start with the basic economic principles. You're going to see a lot of repeated principles or definitions that we've used before. But now we're going to apply it to how it's going to affect our personal finances. We've been through what it looks like in the broad market of everything, what it looks like when dealing with the government, and now we're going to take it home to our own pocketbook. So people choose because of limited resources. People's choices involve costs. People respond to incentives in predictable ways. And people create economic systems that influence individual choices and incentives. And people gain when they trade voluntarily. People's choices have consequences that lie in the future. So these are the basic economic principles when it comes to decision making. The decision-making process starts with identifying the problem, gathering information and listing possible alternatives, considering consequences of each alternative, and selecting the best course of action. So when you're making a decision, it's a step-by-step process. We don't want to make decisions too quickly, or it might be the wrong decision. So first we want to identify the problem, then we want to gather information, make a list, consider the consequences, and then select the best course of action. And then after we make the decision, we want to evaluate the results. So once the decision's made and we went one way or the other, we can look at it and say, did I do the right thing? Did I make the right decision? So factors that influence a decision. First, we have A, values. What is important to you and your family and others in your culture? So this may change the way you feel about certain things. Peers, people that you know. So what are your friends doing? That is probably going to influence you. So sometimes this can be in a positive way. Sometimes this can be in a negative way. We know that peer pressure affects us making decisions socially, but it can also make decisions financially. Well, so-and-so's got Air Force Ones, so now I need to go buy Air Force Ones. So habits. We are accustomed to doing it this way. So this may just be the way you've been brought up. Feelings, love, anger, frustration, ambivalence, like you don't care one way or the other, or rejection. If you do make a certain decision, or if you don't make a certain decision. So how you feel about it. How does this decision going to make you feel? You've also got your family, what your family prefers, decisions another family member has made. If your big brother did it, you may want to do it just like he did. Or the opposite if he had bad results. Risks and consequences. What or how much you stand to win and what or how much you stand to lose. So this is the part where we're weighing the risks and weighing the consequences. What age are you? Are you a minor or an adult? Can you make your own decisions? Do you need a parent to help you make this decision? Do you need permission? Common decision-making strategies. Spontaneity, choosing the first option that comes to mind and giving little or no consideration to the consequences of the choice. So a spontaneous decision would be one where you don't think it through. You're just making it when you want something. You want it and you get it. You're not really weighing the consequences. Compliance, you would be going along with family, school, work, or peer expectations, so you're complying with what everybody thinks you should do. or what you think they think you should do. Procrastination. So this is when you postpone thought and action until the options are limited. So you've waited until the last minute. They've sold out of everything. This always happens to me at Christmas. I want to get my daughter some Crocs that are tie-dyed, and she really wants these. Well, I waited until a week before Christmas, and they were sold out online, so she didn't get them. So I waited and waited and waited until the options are limited. So that's going to affect your decision making. Agonizing. You accumulate so much information that analyzing the options becomes overwhelming. It's not even fun anymore. Your decision is now so difficult that you aren't enjoying it. Intention. Choosing an option that will be both intellectually and emotionally satisfying. So why are you doing this in the first place? Desire. Choosing the option that might achieve the best result regardless of the risk involved. Avoidance. Choosing the option that is most likely to avoid the worst possible result. So you're making a decision to avoid something. Security. Choosing the option that will bring some success, offend the fewest people, and pose the least risk. So you're just doing the thing that you think is safe for security. Synthesis. Choosing the option that has a good chance to succeed and which you like the best. So when you're making a decision, you want to make a T-chart. Okay? This is how you're going to weigh your pros and your cons. The pros being the positive side of the decision, the cons being the negative consequences. That's where cons comes from. So this is it just makes the process simple. It helps you simplify the process and organize your thoughts. So, for example, we want to choose name brand jeans over no name jeans. The pros, better fit. The cons, it would cost more. A pro would be popular people will notice me. A con would be I will look just like everyone else. A pro would be I feel better about myself. A con would be that I can only afford one pair. So once you see this put on paper, it can help you make a decision. Do I really need these name brand jeans? Is it really going to matter in the end? So there are also economic influences on decision making. So my thing is if I were going to go buy a car, I don't get to choose between a Mercedes and a Ford because I don't have the money to choose between a Mercedes and a Ford. So I'm going to be choosing between a Chevy and a Ford because that's my economic standing right now gives me that choice. So these are the factors that can influence personal and financial decisions. Consumer prices, changes in the buying power of the dollar, such as inflation. So if the dollar is losing its value, your money that you've saved for this car isn't going to be worth as much. Prices are going to go up. Consumer spending, demand for goods and services. Gross domestic product, which we will get into later more, is the total value of goods and services produced within the country. And housing stats, the number of new homes being built. So the housing stats is a good indicator of how healthy the economy is. If more people are buying and selling houses and building houses, that's a very good indicator of what the economy is looking like. So that can influence your decisions. Interest rates, the cost of borrowing money. We learned that in our first unit. Money supply, we've also learned this. The funds available for spending in the economy. This is something that will go up soon because we have a stimulus checks going out to everybody. So that's the Fed putting more money into the economy. It's exactly what we talked about, why the Second Great Depression won't happen. Because of that Fed, that money supply is able to increase. The stock market index. So we know what the stock market is. That indicates general trends in the value of U.S. stocks. And then unemployment, the number of people without employment who are willing to work. When unemployment is low, that means more people have jobs. So the economy is going to be better. So the risks associated with decision making. Risks are associated with every decision. The following are common risks related to personal and financial decision making. So the first risk that we have are personal risks. So these are factors that may create a less than desirable situation. Personal risk may be in the form of an inconvenience, embarrassment, safety, or health concerns. So we can really relate to this right now with coronavirus. Do I want to go out and shop in a store right now? You might get infected with coronavirus. So that's a risk you're taking. So yes, it's inconvenient. Or would I rather buy these shoes online or go to the store and try them on? You know, we're making a lot of risks, taking a lot of risk right now with our decision making. So inflation risk. Rising prices cause lower buying power. Buying an item later may mean a higher price. We are also seeing this right now. Things that are becoming rare, such as toilet paper. People stocked up on it because they were scared it was going to run out. And now we've run out, and people are selling it for 5 times what it's worth. Interest rate risk. Changing interest rates affects your costs when borrowing and your benefits when saving or investing. So when interest rates go up or down, it's going to change how much you can afford. So if, like when the Fed dropped interest rates on houses and we have 0% interest, if before you could only afford a $100,000 house, now you can maybe afford a $120,000 house because you're paying less interest. We did this in the car exercise when we were pretending we were going to buy a car. Do we want to make, the $400 payment for 2 years or the $200 payment for 8 years? And we can see that the interest rate really is key there in how much something costs in the end. We also have income risks. If you're changing jobs or reducing your spending, that can be because of a career change or job loss. This is relevant right now with coronavirus. We have a lot of people losing their jobs, restaurant workers, waitresses, people in retail stores. This is a hard time for them. So they're going to make a lot of decisions based on their new income level. We have people also that are increasing their income. We see grocery store warehouse employees that are working major overtime that have increased their pay. We know that there's companies that are going to profit off of this, healthcare companies. So people may also profit from this and not just hurt from it. They're going to be making different decisions. Liquidity risk. So certain types of savings and investment may be difficult to convert to cash quickly. So we've also learned about this. What is cash? What is money? When we did the exercise of the guy who had the trailer and the truck and all his stuff, and it turned out he didn't have all that much money. That trailer is not money. That truck was not money. What was money is the stuff that he can convert to cash quickly. That's liquid money. A lot of people don't have access to a lot of liquid cash. A lot of people's money is tied up in stuff. It's not liquid. It's solid. We've heard about opportunity cost. I think most of you know what this is now. This refers to what a person gives up when a decision is made. The cost, also called a trade-off, may involve one or more of your resources, time, money, and effort. Personal opportunity cost, time, health, or energy. For example, time spent on studying usually means lost time for leisure or working. However, this trade-off may be appropriate since your learning and grades will likely improve. So, let's say that you want to have a vegetable garden and you want to grow tomatoes. And you can spend time, money, energy into growing these tomato plants, and you have to go out there and weed them and fertilize them and keep the bugs away and the rabbits away. But something comes along and a worm gets a hold of your tomatoes when you could have just gone to the store and bought one. So what are the opportunity costs that you lost? What did you gain? So some of that's going to be personal. A lot of that's going to be personal. You may not be out all that much money, but you've got time and health and energy put into that tomato plant. Financial opportunity costs. These involve monetary values of decisions that are made. For example, the purchase of an item with money from your savings means you will no longer obtain interest on those funds. So if you're pulling money out of your savings account to go buy something, that's going to be less money you're earning on top of when that money was in your savings account collecting. So the time value of money. Money, this can be used to measure financial opportunity costs using interest calculations. So spending $1,000 from a savings account, paying 4% a year, means an opportunity cost of $40 in plus interest. This is that last opportunity cost we're talking about. So over 10 years, that would have a value of $480 when you're taking into account